Valentine's Day has come round again, and like many years before, you find yourself single. But this year is going to be different, you say to yourself. This year, I will find myself a Valentine. But you don't, do you? After a long day filled with avoiding eye contact with anyone who remotely resembles a woman, because it's difficult to tell these days, you return home, open your laptop, and grab the Kleenex. Oh dear. Now that was a bit of a dramatic opener, but I'm guessing a few guys would have been a bit offended by that and they would have clicked off the video, because unfortunately it mirrors what is actually going on in their life. However, I think that story really does reflect a lot of young guys' lives today, not just on Valentine's Day, like day to day. So what I'm going to teach you today is a few tips how you can use this like contemporary situation to your advantage and find Valentine's on Valentine's Day, if I upload this before the end of the day. So I'm going to start off with important concepts. Like I like to do my important concepts at the start of the video so that you can kind of get your head around the information that I'll give you. So we all know the kind of famous, centuries old phrase, the opposites attract. And I'm sure a lot of us in school have had like high school crushes or whatever, and maybe they've not been into you. You've probably not really tried to speak to them or anything, but maybe you've thought, maybe this girl doesn't like me because we're too similar. Now the facts are that you should not be similar in any way to any woman ever, okay? The chances are that if you think you're too similar to your crush for her to like you, then it is because you're far too feminine. Now, the chances are that this is not your fault. We're raised in a very feminized society where feminine traits and qualities are promoted. We've been brought up in a very feminine education system where pretty much all of the teachers are women. We're told not to run in the corridors, not to play fight on the playgrounds, to sit quietly, cross your legs. Like, it's not our fault as young men necessarily that we display many feminine qualities. But the most important piece of information here is that strongly masculine men attract strongly feminine women, who are going to be kind of the most high quality, top tier women that you're going to want to attract, because going back to like pure biological factors, they're going to be most well equipped to bear children, be good in kind of a reciprocating relationship or whatever. In today's feminized culture, we are seeing many relationships break down due to partners being too similar, where we're all getting brought to this like muted, not too masculine, not too feminine, where everything's, this is what feminism has done to the world, where men are not allowed to be masculine. But also what's happened is, so men are not allowed to be masculine, first of all, so that brings men from here to here. But women who have been pushed into the workforce and pushed away from like, traditional feminine things like looking after children, teaching children, being kind of very, not having to take on the burden of huge responsibility. Everyone is now kind of in this like grey area where men don't really do manly things and women don't really do womanly things. So relationships, your partners and relationships kind of just become like buddies. It sounds a bit weird, but like they're very similar, and it's almost more of a friendship than a really strong like polar relationship. But in many cases we're kind of seeing now that the scale is being tipped the wrong way, where kind of men being in this grey area are now becoming very lazy and very feminine, whereas women are now, as they're being pushed more into the workforce and more women for managerial roles and stuff, they're becoming more and more masculine as they start to take on more responsibility. And obviously if you watch my previous video where I talked about kind of the rate of single mothers in this country, think about how much responsibility they have. As a single mother, you have to take on all the burdens of the man and the woman in the relationship by yourself. So yeah, we're starting to see the scales tipped in the other way, and obviously this is also going to cause a breakdown of relationships. And now this is tip number one: become more masculine. So if you follow my previous advice and been touching up your style, been exercising, eating healthily, meditating, all these kind of masculine practices, you know, you're on your way there, you're on your journey, that's great. But if you become a strongly masculine man with like traditional masculine qualities of like strength, stoicism, intelligence, being calm and collected in stressful situations, this already puts you in probably top 10, top 5% of guys. So you've already got a foot in the door at this point, so this is really important. And moving on to tip number 2, you have to be interesting. Like, this kind of goes hand in hand with the previous step of being masculine. So things that will make you masculine will also make you interesting. But for those of you who are not quite there yet, I'll give you a couple of examples here. I've had a couple of friends over the years who I've tried to like get into the gym, because it's nice to have like one of your friends to go to the gym with, because you can kind of push each other. I've told them, like, maybe if you start hitting the gym, then you'll start, you know, attracting more girls. Well, attracting even one, because a lot of these guys attract 0. And the response I've got back so many times is, oh, I just want to find a girl that likes me for who I am. Now, this pisses me off a lot, because who are you, bro? Like, a guy who spends half his day with an Xbox controller in his hand and the other half with his dick in one hand and the Kleenex in the other, like, who's gonna like you for who you really are if you're a fucking loser, basically? You have to have qualities that make you desirable to top tier women, because saying that you want someone that likes you for who you are, if who you are is a amalgamation of low tier qualities, you're only ever going to attract low tier women. But because this is all you can get, you'll kind of accept this, and you'll just be in really like toxic, unhappy relationships for the rest of your life, which is just not where we want to be. Now, kind of step 2.5, which is like, if you become masculine and interesting, there's a very important part to this in terms of attracting women that you need to kind of drill into your head. If you have all these interesting qualities about you, you still need to keep like an element of mystery with girls that you're trying to attract. Because say, like me, say, right, I play the guitar, I do martial arts, go to the gym, I'm at university doing a master's in engineering, loads of interesting things, right? If you then go and talk to a girl and you're like, yeah, I go to the gym, like, don't treat trying to attract girls as some kind of like job interview. If you tell them like all these things and that's it, that's your personality, they're just going to sit there and go, oh, well, he only goes to the gym, and, you know, he only goes to university. Like, the issue is that these days, because girls have so much access to such a wide range of guys on things like Tinder, Snapchat, Instagram and things like that, they've got guys in their DMs every single day, like lots of high tier guys. So if you just tell her what you are, then it kind of reduces you to the sum of your parts, I guess, rather than the whole working machine. So you need to keep up an element of mystery, which keeps her wondering what you're spending your days doing, because being masculine and being interesting is not about telling somebody how interesting you are. If you are truly a masculine guy with lots of interesting things about you, you'll have a certain aura to your personality. Like, girls will be able to tell that you spend your days doing like productive things, like things that are making you stronger, more intelligent. They'll be able to tell, because there's a certain aura and a certain confidence that guys have. Because otherwise you'd just be able to like make up loads of interesting things that you do, and like girls would just like you for those things. It's not how it works. You need to just keep up that element of mystery, keep them interested, use it sometimes as points of conversation, but never like just explain everything that you do at once. It's not a job interview. Keep that element of mystery. Top tier women will be able to see that you're a top tier guy purely from your masculine aura. Now, moving into tip number 3, final tip of this video, you got to ask the question, you know, all of these things are great, they're all great. Like, if you have the last 2 tips like nailed down, you're a top tier guy. However, you still need to ask the question, now, I've never, like, I have a fear of asking questions and getting a negative answer back, just like most guys do, and just like most girls do. Like, people don't like asking questions that they fear could have a negative response. But when you kind of rationalize this, like, we spend our entire childhood at school, right? And we get exam papers. Like, even if you haven't revised a single thing for that test, you can still read through the paper and read all the questions. Like, reading the question or asking a question is the easy bit. It's the person that you're asking out or asking to go to dinner or something, like, they've got the difficult decision to make. They've got to answer the question. You have the easy part. I think a lot of guys just need to rationalize this in their minds. Asking the question is the easy part, because the worst thing that someone could say is no, and then it's kind of like, oh, okay, and then that's it. That's that, like, interaction over, and hopefully there's never going to be any hard feelings after that. It's just going to be over and you just move on. And I think a big insecurity that a lot of guys have to do with this is that typically, like, very attractive women, if you like look on their phone, will probably have like loads and loads of guys in their DMs on different social media apps. But you can use this to your advantage, because all these guys that she can choose from, these like top tier guys that are in her DMs, they're all just online. Like, there's only a certain level to how special you can make a woman feel through a phone. Now, eventually she will probably go and meet a few of these guys, and then, probably over for you. But if you just build up the confidence, ask the question in real life to whoever you want to, ask to be your Valentine on Valentine's Day, or ask someone out for dinner. If you can make them feel special in real life, it's going to be 100 times what she gets from messages on Instagram, Tinder, or Snapchat. Even if you're not as attractive as some of the guys on there, or as wealthy as some of the guys on there, that confidence, that kind of aura, and that personality that you have brought to the table in that interaction, it's almost going to be a no-brainer, because you're here right now, you've made her feel special. Chances are she's going to say yes. And if she says no, you're going to get rejected more than you get accepted. Move on to the next person. I think rejection is one of the best things that can happen to you, because it's a learning experience. You can analyze the situation, say this and this I probably could have done better on, and just move on. So that was kind of 3 or 4 tips or whatever on trying to attract women, I guess. Hopefully not too many of you that watch my videos are feeling lonely on Valentine's Day, but I know some of you will be. But I think the best thing that I can say is that everyone's time will come. Like, I remember when I was like 14, 15, I used to think, fucking hell, I thought it was the end of the world when I was like 14 and I didn't have a girlfriend. Like, your time will come. I think even if you're like into your 20s or even like 30s for some guys, as long as you are getting your own life in order, these opportunities will just start to appear as you become more of like a masculine, strong man. These opportunities will appear, but you do obviously still have to ask the question. And I would say, yeah, don't let being single get you down. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You have more time to work on yourself, but one day you will get into a very high quality, top tier relationship, and it will make your life better. And it'll be all the more like worth it because you've waited for it. I implore you not to kind of devalue your reputation. Don't undervalue yourself and feel like you have to go out to the club and start pulling loads of 4s and 5s. That's not the way to go about it. It's good for getting like maybe experience a little bit, but if those are the kind of women that you're aiming for, those are going to be, you're going to start to develop these copes and say, well, I'm happy here. You're not happy here. Become more masculine, become more interesting, become more confident, ask the question, and opportunities will arise, and you will start to attract more top tier women. This has been Tom Kendall Fitness. I hope you like this video. This is the first kind of relationship style video I've done. I think I might have touched on it in a few of my previous videos, but let me know what you think if you like this video. like, subscribe, you know, my Instagram and all that kind of stuff's in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.